I grew up in Nigeria. Mine was a very happy childhood, but it was also a childhood under military dictatorships. And because of that, I know how easily injustice becomes normal. I know how quickly, in the face of sustained mediocrity, we collectively lower our standards so that unacceptable things suddenly become not so bad. This is not a perfect country. It is, in fact, not as hallowed as American nationalists like to think. But it was built on an idea that is humane and beautiful and very much worth perfecting. What America will become is now in the hands of your generation. You cannot be complacent. You cannot afford to be complacent, because democracy is always fragile. To keep a just society just has nothing to do with being on the political left or on the political right. It requires people who know that incompetence dressed up as strategy is still incompetence and still unacceptable. It requires resilient and resistant people who believe in the true idea of America and in the idea of truth and in the idea of just laws, and who will constantly and consistently take a stand. And be careful not to define injustice in foreign terms. I'm always half amused and half annoyed by Americans who are very keen to ask me about the terrible state of something called women in Africa. And believe me, the news is not good. So the creeping impatience I feel is not because they are wrong, but because they have narrowly decided to define gender injustice as a foreign problem. Gender is as much a problem in the United States as it is in Nigeria. It just happens to wear a different kind of dress here. More women die in childbirth in America than should for a country that is ostensibly the most powerful in the world. There's domestic violence, there's a pay gap, women in positions of power is abysmal, the cultural and societal ideas that diminish women, the idea that a room full of men can make decisions about women's bodies. So yes, there is great injustice in the far-flung places in the world, and there is injustice in your backyard.